Hey, it's Adam here with another edition of Enta Wonders. Today we're wondering about one of my favorite books, The First 90 Days. And this is one of those books that has so much information in it. Like, you can see how many pages I folded. It's like every page is amazing. There's so much good stuff in here. I think it almost seems silly to try and summarize it in a couple of minutes. But this is basically written for someone who's going into a new situation or organization, more in a leadership role, and kind of talks about what they can do and some of the things they should think about. I would suggest this as your Bible if that's you. So first step is recognize the situation you're in, and they use this acronym called STARS. So are you in a startup, right? If you are, then your job is to assemble the capabilities, which is people, finance, and technology, and to get a new business or initiative off the ground, right? You're starting it up. 2, you're a turnaround, and that is essentially saving a business or an initiative that is widely acknowledged to be in serious trouble. So you're the guy that's gonna come in and save the day. You are the hero, right? You have to be very aggressive in this role. Not everyone has the stomach for it, because you're probably going to change a lot really fast, and there will be a lot of fallout. Number 3, accelerated growth. So things are great, which just means you're managing a rapidly expanding business. So awesome. Number 4, a realignment. So this is a re-energizing of a previously successful organization that is now facing some problems. So between a turnaround and a realignment, turnaround is kind of aggressive, very, you're the hero. The realignment is you're more of a steward. It's very diplomatic. You're going to work with everybody to try and get things working again, right? You're not at the turnaround point where you need to go in guns blazing. And finally, number 5, sustaining success, which is just preserving the vitality of a successful organization and taking it to the next level. So those are kind of the stars. So the first step is kind of recognizing the situation you're in. And it might be your whole organization is just one category, or if it's bigger and you've got a portfolio of business units, maybe they fall into different categories. So kind of mapping that out is your first step to success. So that's pretty cool. Basically, the idea is don't go in the first day and try and change everything. Your first 90 days, you're there to learn and to watch and to create relationships. So they have this idea of a learning agenda. So on the past, present, future. So from the past, look at the performance. How are things done? What has worked? What has not worked? Root causes. Why have things worked? Why have they not worked? And the history of change. When somebody's tried to change something before, what happened? Where was resistance? What worked well? And of course, the present. The vision and strategy. Do they have one? If they do, is it any good? Is it being listened to? Is it actually flowing into the operations? And then people. This is kind of who's who in the zoo. Who are the influencers? Who has the capabilities? And who can you trust? So kind of figuring out the lay of the land, right? Processes. Landmines, okay? Where are the tricky places to watch, right? And that could be political missteps, that could be a bunch of different things, that could be cultural. And then look for early wins, low-hanging fruit, right? This, honest to God, is like fix the coffee. No one likes the coffee in the kitchen. Be the guy that brings in better coffee. Easy peasy. Stuff like that, right? Bring in a box of cookies, start Cookie Fridays. Whatever it is, look for those easy things that build trust. And then the future. What are the challenges for the company? Understand where they're going and what are the barriers to get there. And then also the culture. So good or bad, what's going on? That's the deal. Past, present, future, right? Figure out where you are. There's this thing called the golden rule of transitioning. So you're going to come into a role, in a leadership role, and then you're probably going to push other people to move into slightly different positions. And the golden rule of transitioning is transition others as you would want to be transitioned yourself. So that seems pretty easy, but in practice, it doesn't happen too often. And then you can summarize all this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basic principles. So number 1, focus on promising opportunities. So those are your easy wins, right? Number 2, get wins that matter to your boss, right? Maybe you're not coming in as CEO, maybe you're coming in at a whatever level, but make sure you understand what your boss is expecting, right? Get wins in the right way. Do it honestly, do it collaboratively, do it diplomatically, unless you're in a turnaround. Take your stars portfolio into account. So we already talked about that. And then adjust for the culture. So be sensitive to the people and what's going on and that kind of thing. And then lastly, I'll actually draw this out. This is what I thought was super cool. I like this because I'm the culture ninja. I love this stuff. You can draw what's called an influence map. So let's say that you have an initiative and you need person number 1 and person number 2 involved. So we'll call this, this is the winning, collaboration here. Now, maybe you don't have influence over those people. Maybe they don't work for you. Maybe they're actually above you. How do you get number 1 and number 2 to work together? So you draw this map. So okay, well, here's me, right? And then here's person number 3, person number 4, person number 5, person number 6. Okay, well, 3 and 4 are thick as thieves. We'll draw an arrow there. And 3 knows 2 pretty well, but 4 also knows 2 pretty well. So that's pretty interesting. And then we come over here and 6 knows 1 and 5 also knows 3 because they're cousins. And I've actually formed a pretty good relationship with 5. So here we go, and then 5 knows 6 pretty well. So now I can start seeing, okay, where are the relationships that I need to build, right? I know 5 knows 3, so through 5, I can maybe talk to this guy. That gets me 4 and 2. And then through 5 also, I know 6, which then can get me 1, right? So this can be a kind of really interesting tool to kind of map out the different relationships and the key influencers who you need to make a difference. And this, I think, is true for business, or if you're changing culture or whatever. Key influencers is so important. So love this concept, and hope you enjoy. See you next time.